at this point. Right? They did that in spite of the fact that we had international monitoring. So you don't trust the international monitoring as well.
I know, because they gave them 2 weeks to go. 2 weeks they gave them to this nasty government. They gave them 2 weeks notice before they go and inspect. What are you talking about?
They didn't have no monitors in fact, Alan. That's the problem.
So you think that we were better off to have ripped up the JCPOA, which was a starting point, than where we are today? Is that fair?
Yes, it is fair. It is fair because 120,000 people so far got killed by this regime. You think this regime has a mercy on you? I doubt.
No, I don't think that the regime has mercy on me, but I also think that the JCPOA was a starting point. It wasn't a...
It never was. It was meant for me and you to think it's the starting point. But for Iran was another win because they built three nuclear facility under the ground, and Natanz is the most advanced one.
Well, as Gary said, the bombs destroyed those. So that happened before we theoretically went into this stupid war. There is no perfect solution, and I appreciate dialoguing with you. But, Iran is not going to give up everything I think the JCPOA, I have yet to be convinced that it was this horrible deal and worthy of being ripped up. And so I think the point I'm trying to get to is, you can't talk about what happened after the JCPOA was ripped up. You can't say they had nuclear weapons after the JCPOA was ripped up because we didn't abide by it. We don't know where
we ripped it up. That was why we ripped it up, Alan.
Okay, so we can have a discussion about the JCPOA. And there are going to be people who think that it was a great starting point, and other people who think that it was because of the sunset clause on it, it was worthless. But I think the point that Alan, the moderator, is saying to Alan, the caller, is that anytime there's any agreement with Iran or its proxies for any kind of stand down, it is used by Iran and its proxies to rebuild and reconstitute whatever military or terroristic assets that they have. And so I think you can argue, even if one were to agree with Alan, the caller's point, that the JCPOA, as the president at the time Obama said, or as he says in retrospect, we got to where we got without entering a war, and now we're back to having to enter a war to get back to where we got with the JCPOA. There may be some validity to that argument, but the fact still remains that Iran cannot be trusted to abide by any agreement that is reached. And there is intel today to suggest that even if they say, sure, come in and take the nuclear dust, which we haven't even gotten to that point, there are other facilities in that vast mountainous range that have yet to be detected that are already in operation enriching uranium. That is the issue, I think, that Alan, the moderator, is trying to allude to. So, Alan, the caller, hold on a second. Alan, the moderator, tell me if that's a concise recitation of the position you're trying to make.
Exactly. You said it a lot better than I do because your ability to speak is 100% more than me. But I'll go with Alan, our spokesman did a minute ago. I understand his point, but we are not dealing with the legitimate government. We're not dealing with the government. There is a shredded truth to them. They are bound to get us any way they want. That's in them book.
Yes,
And
but
it's okay. Back to you, sir.
I was going to say, if you believe that, and I believe that too. I shouldn't say if you believe that. I said let's assume what you said is true. It seems like the current agreement, the proposed agreement, is even worse because we spent all of this money back in 2014 or 2012, whenever we did the JCPOA. We spent all of these millions and millions and billions of suitcases of dollars, and now we're going to spend them all over again and give them even more resources. So even if I accept your point, which I do, how are we better off with this current agreement than we were with the JCPOA?
I never said we are better off. We are 10 times worse, sir. Did you hear what I said? When President Trump says to Iranian help is on the way, he meant help to the regime. But
yes.
We as an Iranian, I as an Iranian born, an American citizen, didn't understand. 80 million Iranian, they did not understand. He meant he was talking to regime. They thought they talking to them. 120,000 people dead. It is not the number they can forget. They're not giving up. That's the main thing is they are not giving up. They're saying it every day. They say we go in the street, we die, but we will not.
I heard you say that, but I'd still maintain that if the JCPOA was not perfect, nobody is arguing that. But there is a tendency for people who are Trump lovers to draw in very straight black and white lines, and unfortunately this is a complex situation. And I appreciate you acknowledging that we're worse off with the agreement now than we were before the JCPOA, so thank you.
Thank you both, and to Alan, the moderator, if you think my English is good, wait till you hear my Farsi. Just kidding. El Normo, followed by Brian.
That's my Farsi. Alan will understand. So, right, Alan, the moderator?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There we go. All right. Boom.
You know how much I admire you. I don't need to tell.
Well, it's mutual. It's mutual and more so. And thank you. So, it's just puzzling to me that people will not read and they won't listen to Iranians. Somehow they think they know better. With their superficial Twitter-size take on a situation like this, geopolitical situation, the problem with the JCPOA is that the restrictions phased out, and therefore was regarded by the Islamic Revolutionary Genocide Corps as a path to nuclear weapons. A path to nuclear weapons. It would have sunset by now, of course, last October, I believe, 2025, and so we would have been in infinitely worse situation had we not torn it up in 2018 after we discovered the secret nuclear weapons program of Iran. The plans, the scientists, the nuclear sites, and worst of all, the enriched nuclear material,
Right,
which they had not.
Right, and by the way, if you don't mind me interjecting, no. You'll recall that after the JCPOA was put into effect, there were a number of Iranian nuclear scientists that mysteriously died, and a number of mysterious accidents that occurred in their nuclear weapons program that they shouldn't have been producing anyway under the JCPOA. So
In the first place.
In the first place. So there is the proof in the pudding that while it was well-intentioned, and I'm not saying it was a good idea to tear it up, but I'm saying that while it was well-intentioned, it was not a panacea by any stretch of the imagination.
Not least of all because they violated it.
Because everything, which is something that Alan would have told us all not you and me, I'm just saying told us all, and did, that it would be violated. He knew that they would not abide by it, and he was right.
He was right, and we should listen. I was just hitting some high points here. I think it is an emotional and nonsensical appeal to somehow compare or to contrast selling one's blood for dinner with defense money that was requisitioned a few years ago to buy the munitions that we've expended in this war, which of course we will have to replenish with newer, more modern, and even more effective military technology. So that was just a very manipulative, in my view, unfair, inaccurate, nonsensical, emotional appeal that has nothing to do with this war. Um, let's go. There was a statement that we don't know why we're there. I'm not. I think the problem with the messaging wasn't with the messenger. It was on the receiving end. With all due respect. Why? Because anybody watching the situation knows very well that there were four huge reasons. And again, the President mentioned it, the Secretary of State mentioned it, the Secretary of War mentioned it, and I mentioned it here. Four big reasons for going to Iran. Number one, the nukes. Number two, their ballistic missiles. Number three, their terror proxies. And number four, their horrific slaughter of their own people. And it is baffling to me that people cannot seem to muster any enthusiasm for the beautiful and cultured and Western-leaning and educated and enlightened Iranian people to be free. For some reason, they just don't count. I don't get it. On the subject of civilian nuclear use or nuclear material that was just mentioned, forgive me, patently false. Because nobody cares if they enrich to 6%, which is what you need for civilian use. The problem is when they enrich to 60%, which keeps them, which has no civilian use, and puts them within arm's reach of a nuclear weapon, which they were continuing to develop, and which they could put on a ballistic missile and deliver to Europe for now and soon enough to the United States, certainly and everything in between, by the way. Making it into a little North Korea, and many of us will remember when our President Barack Obama left office, he said the number one problem was North Korea. The reason why is because of its nuclear ability. Well, this country, I mean, we've compared them to Nazis, the Islamic Revolutionary Genocide Corps, not the good people of the country. They're even worse in some ways than North Korea, certainly, because they are expansionist and imperialist, and they want to kill everybody that doesn't worship like them. I don't think the North Koreans want to kill people that don't worship Kim Jong-il. So I mentioned that they had secret nuclear sites before we tore up the agreement. This is confirmed by the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and the IRGC did not let them in to inspect them. There was a mention that people don't want their good family to go into war. I understand that. Many of our parents, grandparents, siblings served this country nobly. Some didn't come back. My dad did. I have his flag right here on my coffee table in a triangular box. You may, with the glass pane, you may have seen those. This was in Incheon in Korea. Some people might have said don't go into Korea. Probably they did. Some people said don't go into World War II. I'm sure they did. Some people said don't go into World War I. I'm sure they did. Unfortunately, all of those people were in the wrong because the United States is willing and able to defend the rule of law, a laws-based society, which includes freedom of trade and freedom of the seaways and freedom of information. By the way, you may have noticed that Iran threatened to cut the internet cables that went under the Strait of Hormuz, like they have a right to do that. That has to do with freedom of information. of their own citizens. So if you still believe in freedom, then it would be puzzling to me why you would disagree with our use of military might to defend the freedom that we hold dear. So I think I've mentioned almost everything. The last and maybe most important things. What's different now? What's different now is that we have shown them that we are willing to enforce our American will to freedom militarily. I'll say it again. We have exposed Iran as a paper tiger, and we have shown them that we are willing to hit them and hit them hard if they don't abide by their agreements. That's different than before. We did not have that military will before.
I don't know, Norm, you could build a case the opposite's true. That they view the U.S. now as a paper tiger, and they have the upper hand and leverage moving forward based on the MOU.
Well, you'd have to take a look at the damage that we did to them to determine whether you think that's right.
Well, what damage when we're going to be reimbursing at $300 billion?
Hang on 1 second.
You can't have it both ways, Norm.
No, I think I would say that you can't have it both ways, Howard. We have shown them the extent of damage that we are willing to inflict on them, and we have shown them that as pirates, they are not going to hold the world hostage and somehow enjoy freedom of movement. So we are willing to suffocate them and blockade them, and we are willing to smash them militarily. They cannot sustain that. We can. That's the difference.
Yeah, but we elected to not sustain it, and we're giving them new life. We are
I don't know if we're giving them new
We're
life.
resuscitating the regime. Wait, Norm, let me talk. We're resuscitating the regime. We're going to release, $300 billion in reinvestment. And when do we get out of it? The strait's going to be open. I want to remind you, the strait was open before all this nonsense happened.
No, irrelevant. The fact that they're
irrelevant. That's the whole purpose. What do you mean irrelevant?
Completely irrelevant.
It's not. No. I
Completely
totally
irrelevant.
disagree, Norm.
I
Norm, who you crapping?
I'm not crapping anybody. So again, the goal of the war was to degrade them militarily. That will not be reversed. To destroy their nuclear capability. That will not be reversed. Destroy their missile hardware creation and factories and facilities. That's not going the other way. To cut them off from their proxies like Hezbollah. That will not be reversed.
How are they cutting them off from their proxies?
By destroying them economically, by blockading them.
But the article that started all this in the Jerusalem Post says that the blockade was effectively destroying them economically and should not be lifted, and that this is a mistake because they won't be able to recover economically. So if they recover economically and at least $300 billion is pumped into their economy, I don't know where it's supposedly coming from. The president says it's not coming from us. The president says it's not coming from the Gulf states, but it's there in the agreement, and that's just one segment of the agreement. Another aspect of the agreement is the release of their funds that have been held by us. So what do you mean they won't have the economic wherewithal to fund Hezbollah and Hamas in the future?
Well, I don't know how far in the future you want to go, but they have estimated economically, and there isn't any disagreement about that. They're suffocating. And I think the president went into this agreement for two reasons. Number one, because to avoid a vacuum created by no government in Iran, knowing that apparently, again, this is not my call, that the Iranian people were not yet ready or able to take charge, and they wanted to avoid civil war. That would be one. And number two would be to get the stock market, to get the price of oil back down, to get inflation back down going into November, which, I think all of us were upset about the effect of the blockade and the closing of the Strait of Hormuz by Iran. So I don't understand why people would be upset with this. Those people who wanted peace are getting it. Those people who wanted inflation to go down are getting it. Those people that wanted to smash the daylights out of Iran have gotten that. The only thing we did not get is regime respect Captain Anson on his view, but this wasn't only a military operation, it was also diplomatic.
Norm, you've argued on the stage before. Regime
Yeah.
change happened in the beginning. Now you're
Yes.
saying there wasn't regime change? I'm confused.
Well, when I said the regime, I mean, I don't know if you want to dispute what I said, or you want to agree with me.
No, I'm confused. Please clarify.
Well,
Was there regime change or was there not regime change?
You have demonstrated your confusion. Do you want to agree or disagree? Which one?
No, he was asking you to clarify, Norm. Come on.
Yes. Okay. So obviously it was a theocracy before, led by a particularly destructive regime leader named Khamenei. He's gone. That's a regime change. This guy.
No, it's not a regime change. The individual is gone, but the regime remains. Come on. You know that, and I know that.
Well,
You can't look in the mirror. You can't look in the mirror and believe. You can't look in the mirror and believe the guy who's saying that. I don't believe that you believe what you're saying, Norm.
Do you think the new government has been fragmented and they're in a power struggle right now? What existed before no longer existed. We've decapitated about 3 levels down.
Time will tell whether that is an accurate assessment. But the wacko Khamenei son is now ostensibly in charge if he's alive. We don't even know, so we can't say to definitive. This is not what a regime change is. A regime change would be it no longer being the Islamic Republic of Iran, but the Democratic Republic of Iran. That would be a regime change.
That would be desirable, certainly. But we're not there yet.
Well, but I agree with you there. I agree with you there, but to say that it's a regime change is really a stretch. This is Madison Avenue-esque. This is not reality. Come on, Norm.
Well, we can split the hairs if you like.
It's not splitting the hairs. It's calling things as they are.
Apparently, previously, Khamenei was in charge. This new guy apparently is not in charge. The IRGC is taking charge.
Apparently, and the IRGC is a regime change?
Yes, because led by a particularly destructive. The regime is usually identified with its leader.
I'd like for you to find any experts on what's going on in Iran and send me their thoughts that there's actually been a regime change. I'm sorry, but I know you well enough to know that you're just blah 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 here, and you don't even believe what you're saying.
Well, no, you don't get to speak for me in terms of what I believe. What I will say is that it's a semantic matter, and you can have it either way.
It's not a semantic matter. It's a question of what's going on the ground.
I thought it's a definition of what a regime.
No, come on. Don't make this an issue of Webster versus the Encyclopedia Britannica. This is a reality. There is no regime change.
Okay.
There's been no substantive change. Alan, has there been any substantive change in the regime? Alan's busy with a customer. God bless him. Moving on to Brian. Thank you, Norm. Brian, that was very interesting.
Yeah,
Brian,
hey, Gary, one thing I will quickly agree with Norm, as he said in the beginning, people don't read the details, period, and I'll leave it there.
You're right. Brian, followed by Dave.
Hey, a lot of the things I was going to say have already been spoken, so I'll shift gears a little bit and talk from a little bit more of a strategic level. But first, I'll start with this notion that the $300 billion is just going to be pallets of cash, like we saw previously delivered to the Iranian regime. It's going to come in the form of loans and repayments for reconstruction efforts like buildings, bridges, things like that. So it's more in terms of loans and lines of credit for rebuilding, and probably most importantly, it's going to come from private sector. So it's not just going to be a government transferring funds, either physically or digitally. It's going to be companies going in there from around the world, Asia, Africa, Europe, and America, going in there and rebuilding the damage that was done. And then, it's all coming from private sector, not coming from U.S. target, as in rebuilding, those pieces of infrastructure. And, of course, Iran can say we're rebuilding this airport hangar and now we're going to use it as a training facility for our terrorist activities. I don't know, something like that. So it could be repurposed and that exists. But
Hey, Power Community!
countries around the world, they're going to be closely monitoring that. And if those intentions or if those requirements are not met, the funding will instantly shut off. I mean, the private sector is going to be much more likely to oversee that in a more diligent way because they are, not going to be.
Many people felt that I overreacted about the teen takeover that happened on June 15th at the Trader Joe's location that I was present at. It was about 8.
This could change. We've got 60 days of detailed negotiations, technical negotiations. So what I'm going to ask you may not be entirely fair. Verizon had not stated that Iran agrees to stop funding its terrorist proxies.
Well, that's probably a separate matter. And what I've been reading is that there are other security measures in place. So I don't think it's limited to just rebuilding roads and bridges and buildings and things like that. There will be multiple components to hold them accountable, and there will be much stricter oversight than we saw in the JCPOA, which I think, had some good intentions, had some good pieces.
But doesn't that require them to be cooperative because they were supposed to be under the JCPOA cooperative, but the IAEA says they were not?
I think what I was going to say is that the JCPOA has some good intentions and some good pieces in its framework. The flaw in it was that it was just easily sidestepped. Like now, I think the intention or the requirement is going to be anywhere, anytime inspections, which was not the case.
And how are you going to effectuate that? You have great faith that this new regime is, as Norm puts it, will cooperate, and that will exactly.
No, I think there's zero chance that Iran will follow through on their commitments, regardless of what they are. They are not driven by economics, concern for their people, even concern for their own lives. I think they're very happy to be martyrs for the cause of their radical religious beliefs. And, what happened over the past couple months was inevitable. With the way they are ideologically and religiously driven, somebody had to step up, whether it was, Trump or Obama or whoever's the next president, the next couple of presidents. The only way this is going to end is if the regime completely collapses. And I think really, from a strategic perspective, what Trump did, and I'll speak to some of the other things I was going to mention, was I think he's done a lot of good strategic things that have created short-term pain. But the international community have created some no longer, an adversary as they were previously under Chavez and Maduro. He's severely restricted Cuba. He's kind of accelerated their demise. He's isolated Iran from China. China came out and basically chose the U.S. over Iran. They chose not to get involved. Yeah, they might have been selling some arms and some, other supplies behind the scenes, but I think for the most part, China and Xi Jinping values the long-term strategic relationship and trade deals with the United States more than they value Iran, even though the oil that was provided to China by Iran, was substantial. I think like 10 to 12, 14%, something like that. So, the international community for decades and positioned us to benefit. We are the beneficiaries in terms of what we are producing as far as oil, natural gas. I mean, Europe now sees what Trump predicted with Russia invading Ukraine, what's happening in the Middle East. Trump predicted all of this, over the years, and especially in his first term. So, I think they're more likely to continues in this direction. So, his goal was to fundamentally change things in the United States government. And even though Doge didn't accomplish all the things it set out to do, I think at worst it highlighted the massive amounts of spending that were going out to these bullshit causes.
At worst, it allowed the United States to present information without the executive's ability to classify it because Doge got rid of Adobe Professional. They cost more than they made. Like their entire point was to save money, and they literally, as a department, cost more money to fund by the federal government than they did less. Like they didn't do their job. Like I don't understand why Republicans like that. It is a failure on our part. We put a 19-year-old in charge of Social Security, and then it had a breach. Right? Really, really bad ideas.
Marshall, I don't mean to go off topic, but to support that example, what's happening with the screw worm down in Texas is another example. We cut $15 million, and it's going to cost us way more now to fix it.
Absolutely. And you can track the cutting back to Doge. And the problem with Doge in the first place was these people didn't have any context for who they were firing and what they were getting rid of. Not to mention the fact that they fired thousands of people that then had to be rehired, given back pay, and some sort of legal compensation because the federal government wrongly let them go. Right? They were not worth it. And I don't, I'm a Republican, but I don't understand the praising of Doge in any way, shape, or form. They were worthless. They were beyond worthless.
Well, I think the counter argument is that Trump is shifting the center of gravity away from the government. He's pushing more of the economy into the private sector and taking it out of the hands of the public sector. It's messy, and there are Republicans and Democrats who are fighting them because of the nature of political.
Brian, it's not just messy; it's utterly unprofessional. The way this was done by them is not a show of professionalism. I wouldn't hire these people in private life to do my. Hold on, I wouldn't hire these people in private life to do my taxes. They acted like they knew what they were doing. They cut thousands of people using this rip and tear model, which they then had to rehire. That's not doing a good, professional job. That's doing a lazy job and calling it good.
No, I disagree. I think
if your job is to cut money from the federal government, you don't then, number one, cost the federal government more than it costs to fund you. Number two, you don't end up costing the federal government more by firing people you then have to rehire because you didn't do it the right way to begin with. If it were professional, if it were in line, they would have done the professional thing, gone through the research, fired the people they could hire, so they didn't have to go to lawsuits with these people privately, and then have the federal government pay them out. That's not professional, and you can't argue that it is.
That's not accurate. So I think
it's absolutely accurate. They fired a bunch of people. Hold on. They fired a bunch of people. They fired a bunch of people that had to be hired.
I heard you the third time.
Well, tell me it's not true, because I can look. If you want the source one, I'll pull them up for you. They fired a bunch of people that should have fired.
I'll give you the counter argument, Marshall. The counter argument is that you don't have time, and you don't have the time to go through the bureaucratic red tape to go in there with a scalpel. What you do is you go in there with a.
I'm going to say political shit, and I'm going to waste the taxpayers' money, and I'm not going to bother. Hold on, and I'm not going to bother to do it right the first time. Hold on, and I'm not going to bother to do the task right the first time. In what universe is repeating a task 3 times in any way good for the U.S. government more than people
that are absolutely.
That's not my point. My point is, you don't tell me that you don't have enough time to do it right. That's wrong. You do have time to do it right. You chose not to do it right.
Guys, I don't know what this has to do with today's topic. I agree with Marshall.
I'm trying to close the loops here. What I'm saying is Trump is working at a strategic level that a lot of people just don't understand clearly, because
it's not a misunderstanding. They were put in charge to save money. You don't save money by costing more money than you should.
I got that, Marshall, and you're right. So we have another one who believes that the American public doesn't understand what we actually see in front of us, and we thank him for explaining it to us. I cut it off because it's 6:55. We only have 5 minutes left, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people in queue. Dave, and maybe followed by David and the others. Dave.
This topic we must look from top down, not go for the final detail at a very low level, because that doesn't change the world. The whole idea is today's topic is very critical. It's not just domestic, it's about global, right? That's why we talk about that. Unfortunately, we went down to a little detail, but anyway, we go back to the global part. So what have Trump achieved since the beginning of the war, right? So when Trump started this war, a lot of European leaders were very unhappy they were not involved. But after recent G7 meeting now, right? So this is no longer the same. That G7 and other, a total of 40 nations are come together. Then they're going to help in either by contributing to Navy ship to clear the mine, or somehow financially contributing. Okay? So this is a united front. This is no longer U.S. Israel. This is a united 40 nation after the G7. So this is what Trump claimed he wanted to achieve during his first inauguration speech, uniting, right? So and just like the prior speaker said, you know, sometimes he might do it very bluntly, but we are facing what he claimed in December 2025, civilization erasure. It's not just Europe, the entire Western civilization. There's no time to be Mr. Nice Guy. There's no time to be very nice, surgical, don't insult anybody, don't make people uncomfortable. It has to be top down, hammer sledge, and now we have 40 nations come together, just like the prior speaker said, China is supporting that as well. So this is the biggest achievement. The 47 years of deception by Iran Murad regime is over.
So do you believe that because of do you believe that the nuclear threat that Iran presents has now been eradicated?
Basically, you cannot trust this regime. Whatever things happen, you can't trust. Whether you sign any agreement during Obama time and whether we sign
I don't think you're answering the question. We got a couple minutes left. I'm just asking you a simple question. Through this memo of understanding and what it allegedly will lead to, do you believe that Iran's nuclear weapons threat to the world has been eradicated?
No.
Okay, now, wait. Second question. Do you believe that Iran's exportation of terrorism has been eradicated?
Not yet.
Do you believe that the threat to the populace of Iran, because we were just told it was a regime change, has been eradicated? That people who are dissidents no longer have to fear being executed on the streets?
Okay, so they...
Yes or no?
If you want yes, no, you are like an Islamist. You don't care about...
I'm an Islamist. I love an Islamist. I love that analogy.
Hey, Gary, can we confirm what statements has the G7 just made supporting this memo of understanding?
I don't know.
Did they completely support the U.S.?
That's news to me. I'm sorry, David Garcia. I'm sorry, Amir, who I really wanted to hear from, especially. Sorry, Andrew. Guys, come in early tomorrow, and we'll get you at the top. Please, David, Amir, and Andrew. Folks, we're here Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock New York time. So until 5 o'clock New York time tomorrow, for the next edition of the Critical Thinking Forum, everybody be safe, be well, and peace out.
are intended to. If we paid attention, we'd realize power comes in numbers. And numbers only come when you put in the work to do the shit that matters in the first place. And the problem I identified with the American public not giving a fuck is not just voting, it's not just being uninformed, it's being utterly unwilling to put themselves in a place where they are responsible for the freedoms they have. They're unwilling to bear the burden of responsibility. As long as they are, bad things in this country will happen.
You'd be.
People are. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you'd be surprised, Florida, how much individual people get quoted by legislators after they come with their issues or their reason why a law needs to be enacted or a law needs to not be on the books anymore. You'd really be surprised. And if you spend time around these legislators, they do listen to their constituents. It is important to them. And you do, and I definitely start on the local level. I mean, I go to Washington now, but and there's many people that I meet with I haven't written checks to. I definitely haven't written checks to, but I go in and meet with them and I ask for their time. I mean, you get 20 minutes. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you get staff, and that's on the federal level. But on the state level, I mean, something just happened with my county commission that pissed me off, and I put a call into, and then I put a call into the guy, and then I got his number, and I sent him a text about something that happened at a hearing at the county commission. I've appeared in front of my city council on a few occasions, you know, under public, during the period of time when the public can speak. It's, you know, you get on the agenda. I mean, it sounds a little kooky, but you can do it, and they will listen to you, and you really would be surprised. But if you don't do it, you'll never know. Period. Suggesting Florida, like, again, you and I disagree on a lot of stuff, but you're actually pretty persuasive, and you have a lot of opinions.
Because
I mean,
I'm correct. You know,
no, I don't think you're correct all the time, but I think you have an audience in your legislators on your state level. You know,
they care more about your checks than they do
not on a local level. You'd be surprised.
Absolutely on the local level.
Not so much. I mean, it's also like, I mean, you're in a bigger state than mine. Mine's a little state, so it's easy to access people on in state elected offices. It's smaller here, but I mean, you got to try it. You know, what is driving you crazy that's state law in Florida that you really want to have a voice about? Think about it and reach out to them. I mean, if you had kids, I don't know if you have kids, and your kids were in a school with the school district and you go to those school board hearings, I mean, a lot of parents do that. For some people, that's the first place is at the school board.
Yeah, and to be fair, I thought it was fucked up when I heard that the Biden administration and a lot of the Democrat-leaning school districts and politicians were like deeming these parents to be like quote-unquote domestic terrorists in one extent or another. But I don't think that, I just don't think we're going about this the right. This is why I like really support, number one, we've talked about it before, Abby, the more stringent campaign finance laws, number one, and then number two, changing the voting system entirely to allow for like ranked choice voting, so to speak, where number one, people would have to like be more clearly labeled when they're donating, or organizations would have to be more clearly labeled when they're donating, and it would take the dark money out of politics and also large money by like minimum by setting limits.
They are labeled. I mean, again, I told you on the federal level,
it's not true.
I have let me just say it. I have $5,700 I can do to a member of Congress, or like if I have an event at my house and it costs me $5,000 to do it, that, you know, but I can't have an event at my house for $10,000.
Yeah, but what about the People's Republic of North
let me,
Yeah, and she can't give,
so
like,
the people
nobody
they can't
at that event can
give
take cash.
money. I tried to tell you.
Yeah, you can't, like,
you can't give
You
to a
donate to
class.
state parties.
No, they cannot.
Super PACs can donate
It
parties.
have to be American citizens.
No, they can't.
It's illegal.
No. That's the specific issue with super PACs. Super PACs don't donate to campaigns. It's federally illegal to do so. No, Florida, if you don't believe me, pull any FEC report from any member of Congress or the Senate and quote me where. Oh God.
I know, what a bitch. I'm gonna text him right now. Hold on. Let me text him. You're a bitch. I'm gonna send it right now.
That's not what federal law says. Federal law says.
He just said,
That's just lame.
I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't want to listen. Anyways, what else is going on?
I got nothing.
I'm fixing him. Come back. Stop being a little punk. He does that. He runs out of and on this particular subject, because I came with hard facts on it every time on who can go into super PACs, how super PACs are disclosed. Every single time you tries to say that foreign governments, and I try to tell him it's illegal and PACs can't take it if they're political, and he runs out. Marshall, you've seen him do that.
It's annoying. I'm like, that's just not what it says. Like, look at a campaign finance report. Right? This is the proof that people are lazy. They could go to FEC and pick out any campaign finance report from any member of Congress or senator in the country, from any political action group, from any coalition committee, and they don't. Because they're too fucking lazy to do anything about their fucking beliefs. It infuriates me.
It's a go. But this is him on this subject. He will go running every time. What's for dinner, y'all? What's for dinner? Feeding the dog right now, so it's chow, and I'm giving him this pumpkin stuff that you're supposed to give your dogs. Someone talked me into it. Some kind of like pumpkin patch thing I put on the top of his food. That's what dinner looks like, right? Pumpkin for dogs, huh? Yeah. That's good. What are you eating? I had a little bit of Spanish food earlier. Had a little bit of an octopus, which was good. It was in this nice little, like a reduction. It was really nice. But I'm making some chicken breast, chicken thighs, bone in, skin on, salt and peppered and buttered, putting it in the oven on the broiler. You know how it is. One of those. I was in a room earlier and they were talking about how to make a steak like a steakhouse. Like, why my steaks at home never taste like Fleming's or a steakhouse. So they gave me all the instructions, like literally everything I have to do. I mean, that's the process. You have to use a cast iron skillet, which I never knew. I always put it on the grill, which is wrong. And you have to use the butter. You have to like baste it in butter, and you have to baste the cast iron pan in butter as well. I mean, so they went through this whole thing, 1.5 minutes on each side, and then put it in the oven. I never did any of this. Now I just stick it on the grill.
So I take some butter at the end, depending on what kind, but not all through. Like at the end, I'll put some, depending on what kind of cut it is.
They said to baste it while you're on the skillet. And they said you have to make sure that the other thing they said is use the kosher salt, and you have to make sure that there is no water anywhere. Dry your shit. I didn't know that either. You gotta pat dry that motherfucker. But I do not. My steaks, maybe like I don't eat steak. I cook it usually for my man. So we get a ribeye, maybe about like an 1.25 to 1.1 inches. You know, in that area of thickness. Cute marbleization, but I literally put on a cast iron skillet, sear it, I sear it like hot sear. You gotta hear that shit. And then I lower the heat. I cover it. And then I raise the heat. I flip it, sear it. I cover it and I lower the heat. I don't have to put it in the oven. I don't have to do that extra step. Yeah, lower the heat just a bit. Cover it with the lid.
I mean, I'm so lazy. I have a big grill in my backyard, you know. So I just like
delicious though. What?
Yeah, but it's not the same. It never tastes like a steakhouse, right? So
You're right. You're
trying to replicate.
You know, there's one video that was done by what's his name, Gordon Ramsay, that cooks a perfect steak on a grill. You should check it out. Let me find it for you.
And you're not supposed to put the sauce on until after, right? So
No sauce at all, actually. I think there's no marination. There's no marination. There's no marinating. There's no sauce. There's no nothing like that. It's just salt, pepper, butter. Apparently. You know what I'm saying?
I do have a steak seasoning I put on top of it too.
You do put steak seasoning on?
Oh.
So she said rosemary and I forget what the other spice was, and garlic, I guess, in the butter when you're basting it. What kind of, you put like stuff you buy that says steak seasoning?
Yeah, it's Mrs. Dash steak seasoning.
Yeah.
Oh, I found the one that's on a cast iron skillet with Gordon Ramsay. Let me put that in the chat. This is the one that I learned off of, and every time someone talks about how do you make a steak, people even talk about this video. I'll put it in the chat. Y'all check it out. It was done about, 18 years ago. It was posted 18 years ago.
Wow, it doesn't change, man.
Doesn't change. Hey, Dyson.
You just buy smooth beer. Everyone derises here. Let's get it started.
Is that
How did the game go yesterday?
It's fun always. Yeah, it keeps iterating, keeps getting better. I want to tell you about a small victory I had, or a small defeat, depending on how you look at it. My friend told me a while ago, and I've taken this to my heart, that if you go more than 2 days without going to the gym, you're in a rut. I've been trying to stay consistent, and it's been a few days, so I feel like I'm in a rut, and then I was like, alright, I'm going to force myself, I'm going to the gym. And then I get to the gym, and they have a sign on the door that says, we're installing new equipment, will reopen tomorrow. So I
You don't need a gym to work out.
They don't train.
That's true. You can do calisthenics at home. Stop playing. Yeah, right. You're absolutely right. So don't do that to yourself.
I didn't want to say I've got one in my house and I never use it.
I'm just saying.
Yes, I use it.
I use the Pilates reformer. That's it.
One of my friends has one of those mirrors. You know what I'm talking about? The mirrors that like reflect on you and shit.
Oh, what's that called? That
That's just stupid.
the magic, like that mirror. I can't.
Yes. Put against your wall. I don't know what it's called.
It talks to you, right? It talks to you.
Yes. It checks your posture and everything. Like you're off to the left. Please censor yourself. Like shit like that. It's like what the fuck, bitch.
I've got some crazy stuff in my gym. I have one of those shake machines. You know that
the vibrators.
It's the power plate. It's
Get them
called.
out on the ground.
And I don't use. I mean, yeah.
Serendipity just
Hands behind back. Legs up.
When she talks to us, she told
Monkey climb.
Just get you a
If they
bag,
move,
put 35
they
pounds
die.
in it, and just walk.
Use those two to get them out on the ground with
take a
hands
couple of
behind
gallons
back,
of
legs up,
water,
no
put it on a
complaints. If they
string,
move,
throw it
they
over your
die.
shoulder, and go for a walk.
I could be like those Southeast Asian women and just have a gallon of water on my head for
Exactly.
Do you know what the temperature is outside if I want to go walking right now? It's probably 106, 105.
Yeah, it's 72 degrees.
Yeah, I can't go walking.
60.
Oh,
No, you gotta do this in the morning, like 4 a.m.
Yeah, this is like a morning or a late evening jog, like a 7 to 9 p.m.
We may get down to 100 if I'm lucky, but
where are you, Arizona?
No, I'm in Nevada. It's hot.
Oh, Nevada.
I think about the outcome.
Hey, as I said, man, you just gotta do it really early in the morning.
And then I'm sure Ella.
I have a dog. I mean,
Have
that's
you
fun.
ever considered just waking up at 3 in the morning to go walk?
No, I haven't, but my dog does consider it that when you were these.
Think about the outcome. Again, I'm sure other friends would have
Gosh, I'm
proceeded
lead you to
differently.
the right direction here.
Waking up early's not
Because
that
you're just
bad,
as stupid.
man.
So I need opinion of something. So
You can't expect
I had a broken sprinkler. The guy came and it was right near the house, the back of the house, and the guy's like, I saw termites and I should have somebody look at it. I was like, okay. So I had somebody come out, and I was back there with him, and he showed me, he goes, it could be a termite, but it also could be a flying ant. I really couldn't tell, but he's like, I mean, if you want to be safe, you get treatment, but I don't want to say. So if he said it could be an ant, you think it's probably an ant, or he would have said for sure it was termites?
Screaming.
Yeah, termites have a distinct,
Like,
they leave behind something very distinct. So
Exactly. This was like, it had wings, and he's like, it is the season for the swarming ones. He's like, if it didn't have wings, it would I could definitely say, but with the wings, he's like,
You can't
I'll
expect
take
the
an
kid
opinion.
living with a woman with French tips.
So
Never even drew just screaming.
tend to live near wood. Is your sprinkler near anything that's wood?
The house is stucco. I mean, obviously it's nothing wood frame, it's stucco, so they're
No,
not.
I meant like, where's the sprinkler at?
Well, it's right next to a lot of.
No, I can't come back with, in my Anon. Here we are. Hey, I'm back, everybody!
a lantern fire.
Hey!
Dark areas and lots of wood.
Yeah, no, it was nothing like that.
So, yeah, so I'd go with ants, personally.
Personally, but I'm not. Get a second opinion though.
Yeah.
What do I know?
Don't take my opinion who's been bit by a shit ton of ants, you know? And been in, like, really interesting areas.
Do you live in a termite, like an area that has termites? Because not all. Yeah, check the termite. Like check the Farmer's Almanac. So you got termites. No, like in certain geographical areas, they're more prevalent.
French tips. Never even drew just
Since
screaming.
it's also treated subterraneanly in 2018, and the guy who sprinkled said that's
Use
for the
less
last 10
speed.
years.
Get
He
them out
said
of the
more
ground,
like
hands
7
behind
years.
backs,
So
legs up, no compliance.
I'm
If they
thinking,
move,
but
they
yeah, if
die.
I get somebody else to do it for you,
Don't drink
then I'll have
coffee with them. I'm so
every quarter.
fuck. She was so nice and pleasant for the marriage.
I have a fucking house. I need to go back to living in a
You know what's weird? When I was doing work back east, like anytime I'd represent someone with a house purchase, like in Jersey or PA, like you always had to have termite addendums and termite, like, you know, always part of agreements, and all kinds of warranties on termite inspection. You had to have the termite inspection. You had like asbestos and termite. Here, in this climate, we don't have termite issues. You know, like you don't have the termite addendums.
So the same thing
it's
with
just weird,
Forest
so
in
that's
Georgia
why
when
you
I had
need
to
to
carry
check
the rucksack
if
and
they're
rock them.
prevalent where you are. That's true.
Yeah, well, you guys don't get a whole lot of rain. You know, we go
Physically
this
and
dry, we go through the
physically
rainy
and
season,
mentally.
but.
That's what I'm saying. It's like this is the season for it.
Yeah.
Check. Well, have you checked on Reddit? I hate to say this. I know it's dumb.
I've
You
gone
can-
to Reddit for a lot of stuff and found good information. So that's
Yeah, go
what
to
I'm
Reddit and
saying.
see if Florida's having a termite situation. See if
Physically
no
and
bug
mentally
And I think I'm
capable of
gonna take,
giving
there's
the
that,
war
there's
and
an app
controlled
called
violence.
iNaturalist.
I naturalist, yeah.
Yes, so I'm gonna dig in there and try to
It's still
take
the
some
same
pictures
thing
and see
in
what they
Forest
say.
I
in
do that
Georgia.
for New York City.
When
They
you
have a
carry
little
the
bit, and they show you where all the
rucksack and
the rooftop beehives are. New York beehives?
Physically and mentally
Yeah, we have rooftop
incapable of
beehives. They
giving
make
the
their
war
own
and
honey and
controlled
everything. They
violence.
sell it. There's such different bugs here. We have scorpions. A lot. That's a big issue here.
I think I do too, but I've never seen one, but they do know.
They're awful.
Allegedly.
The baby ones are the bad ones.
Oh, there's a little baby lizard inside the screen.
The lizards are good. The lizards will eat.
I love lizards.
Bad to the
When
bone.
they get inside the screen there, they can get back out, they'll find its way back out, but I drip water down the screen and they usually drink it, so I'll see if he's thirsty.
They get pretty big in Florida though.
Yeah, lizards get huge in Florida. Yeah, these ones don't get that big. He's a little baby too. He's a tiny, tiny little baby. I'm gonna give him some water, see if he's thirsty.
Yeah, a little.
I love lizards.
I definitely don't love them. It scares the hell out of me.
This cat. So a few days ago, you know, I have a stray cat that is my cat now. So a few days ago, my neighbor's like, the cat has a mouse in his mouth outside. And I was like, but I didn't see the message right away. By the time I got up, I don't know where he was. So, well, today he threw up. And with like some gray fur. I'm like, you ate that fucking mouse. It serves you right. That's why you're throwing up.
I say you're vomiting because that mouse probably ate something terrible.
Yeah.
Now you eat a mouse.
Like, you know what? I think it's this nice little gift that they try to bring you, and you weren't there for it.
They're so proud. They're so proud. My dog brought a full bunny into. I was like sitting on the floor in my bedroom, and he's a lab, so he's totally like chases bunnies all the time. And he finally like had victory and got a bunny, but the bunny there was no blood. The bunny's eyes were wide open. The bunny had
It was a gentle gnaw.
well, no, the bunny had a heart attack. The bunnies. Because bunnies die of heart attacks, like of shock.
Get anxiety, right?
Right, anxiety. So
Thankfully, my dog, he's only Chihuahua, never killed anything, nothing. This cat he's brought mice before. It's been a while, so I thought he had stopped, but apparently he just didn't find
I
it.
feel that because my Chinese
You
zodiac,
support abortions,
my
you
Chinese
support
zodiac
legal
rabbit,
alien
I
invaders,
also
you
died.
hate Trump. Why vote for you?
Just 2 weeks before the holidays last year, the Department
He's brought mice before.
of Education abruptly discontinued 2 vital federal grants sustaining.
Used to kill squirrels, and I'd walk out in the
Hello?
morning in high school and see a decapitated squirrel.
Oh no!
That squirrel probably deserved it. I actually hate squirrels.
I love squirrels.
I'm now Illinois.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Well, get bird outside today. You got a bird.
So Alan, do you have squirrels where you are? I have no squirrels where I
We
am.
have black squirrels.
Do you have squirrels?
This was back in.
In Boston, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have them now. Do you have Boston? He's from Boston. Do you have squirrels where you are now?
In California, yeah.
How did they get to California? They got across the country, but they bypassed Nevada.
It's too hot. They're like, fuck this.
They went along with Lewis and Clark. That's what happened.
They just kept going. They had a little backpack and they said, fuck it, let's go right past it.
There's a better joke in there somewhere.
Shut your ass up, Alan. Ain't no joke better than the ones we told.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm only
Part of this lizard.
I always do this.
You're very nice.
And they'll drink, and there was one that last year that was here for like a weekend. When I dripped the water, he'd go running to me. I'm like, oh yeah, you're not trying to kill me. You're getting me along. Hope this gets stuck in the spider web back here though.
There's a squirrel.
Huh?
There's a squirrel here with a purple tail that's trying to kill me.
Oh, he's not trying to kill you.
Yes, he's trying to kill me.
Stop that.
Every fucking time I try to walk by it, I know the purple tail every fucking time. It runs past me to the point where, like, it's always in front of, like, a step. It runs in front of me in a step. And so, like, I, like, double my steps, bro. It's trying to kill me.
Just checking.
I don't like squirrels. He's like,
Fucking can't stand the squirrel.
Just start saying nice things about squirrels. Won't do it
It's
anymore.
because I live in a neighborhood and it's these fucking gay ass squirrels.
People are gay squirrels.
They hate me because I'm straight. Call me fish and fucking distort me.
Wait, Merrill. They're gay and they called you a fish?
Yes. Some of them are trans, I think. The purple one's gotta be trans.
Yeah, you know, that is the first time in 40 years that I've heard, that was a term I heard back east, that gay men refer to women as fish. I've never heard it repeated till now.
Nah, it's coming back, baby. I just know it's alive and well.
Larry, be nice to the gay squirrel.
I'm trying to be, but it still wants me dead.
There's one episode of The Simpsons where Grandpa Simpson is sitting Bart down on the couch and he says, Bart, I have a good story to tell you. He says, well, actually it isn't so good, but it is long.
What?
I bring that up for no reason.
Ooh.
The parade is tomorrow. The next parade is tomorrow. That's gonna be exciting shit.
Oh, okay.
Where's it down Fifth? Where are they doing it? Down Fifth? They're doing. Yeah, it's gonna be down the Bowery up to. It's gonna be a cute little like. Wait. It's like a 12 blocks.
The Bowery to City Hall?
Isn't that
Hey,
crazy?
everybody.
That's so weird. Why there? Because nobody goes to Fi Dye anymore. No one goes to the Bowery anymore. No one goes there. And it's gonna end. It's gonna end at City Hall because that's where we're gonna. Old Mayor Mamdani's gonna be giving the keys to the city to NBA players. I thought it should have happened around MSG, but up to like at least 59th Street.
Cool.
Right, we're down Broadway.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they end at MSG and like have everyone gather in there or like something?
World Cup. The World Cup, that's why.
Oh yeah, the World Cup. We're all having a World Cup here. All the Scots from Boston are visiting too because they just want to.
Maybe people uptown just realize the crowd gets rowdy. They don't want that around.
Maybe. When we had the one for the Eagles in Philly, it went down Broad Street, which is like where the Mummers March, and then it went around City Hall, if you know Philly at all, and to the Art Museum, you know, where Rocky ran up the steps. Yes. And then they did like speeches and stuff from the steps to the Art Museum, which is like the natural parade route.
French tips.
So most of the city can see it. So that's crazy. It's like hidden in New York down there. It seems like it's not even going that far, but I don't know.
Well, it's not.
Things are made to be seen.
The Bowery to City Hall is like a 15-minute walk.
Right, but it's just I don't know what to expect. I'm gonna be they want it to be, what does that call it? A ticket? Where they're gonna throw a ticket tab. Do you know what I'm talking about? Ticket tab throwing? Like back in the ticket tape. Thank you. Ticket tape. They're gonna do a ticket tape parade.
Ticket tape parade.
It only lasts a ticker tape. Ticker tape. Yes, for the accountants back in the day, right? Yeah, ticker tape. So it's gonna be a ticker tape parade. So it can only last a few blocks, anyways. Because if not, it's gonna be just terrible. So they have sanitation on board. They have all sorts of volunteers to clean up afterwards too, so it can't be that long. When's the last time they did a ticker tape parade? That's a really wild thought. That's a good question, actually. I did hear it's been a while. When is the last time NYC did? Like they had it at the end of the war.
March 2008.
2018?
No, I just.
Oh, you make that up. I mean, I'm thinking of like Kennedy. 1973, when the Knicks won the championship. Wow. So they're gonna do it again because the Knicks won again. Wow, I like that.
Okay, I still don't understand what.
An acid attack in.
Ticker tape parade.
Now let's be clear. Paper.
So back in the day when accountants used to do a lot of small receipts that didn't mean anything at the end of during a parade, since accountants were usually in these really tall buildings, they would throw whatever paper they had out the window for celebration. That became like a thing called ticker tape parade.
That's kind of close.
I mean, I just gave you the gist of it. Fucking long ass thing.
I'm not gonna go into a long ass thing either. Ticker tape is what they used to have. As they had in the stock market, everybody had a ticker machine, and the ticker machine would run out a tape, and it would have all of the stocks on it. That's how they got the stock reports before we had the internets. And they had a lot of paper around, and they had all those torn up ticker tapes, and they'd throw them out the window.
Which is a elongated way to say what I just said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's not, Vero. You're being.
Yes, it is.
The only difference with stockbrokers and accountants, that's the only difference between what.
Do they tend to have those parades near Wall Street?
The
Thank you.
historical context of why it makes sense.
Well, I gave you the gist of it. He just said the same thing I said, but a little more,
a little more accurate, like it was from the stock market, not from accountants.
I was still accurate.
telling yourself that.
I mean, I'm still accurate.
She painted the picture. There was extra tape that they threw out the windows.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. I just had extra tape. Sense. What do you mean it didn't make sense?
What if those rates have been down in the